Hey everyone, welcome to the Mass Retirees Weekly Roundup. I'm Sean Duhimmel. Today is October 2nd. We've got 3 months to go in the year in 2020. I think for most of us, we can't wait for this year to be gone, but we have a lot of work to do over the next 3 months, and thank you for tuning in and engaging with us and staying up to date with everything we have going on. Next week, I have a full update of our work and the ongoing status of Social Security windfall elimination provision, otherwise known as WEP reform. So next Friday's video, which will be October 9th, look for a full update. Also, for Mass Retirees members, your November newsletter is being mailed to you this coming Monday. So going into the mail on October 5th, you'll be getting it throughout next week. There's a full update on Social Security WEP in the newsletter, as well as an open letter from Congressman Richard Neal to our members to give you some insight into what he is thinking, what he's trying to do on your behalf. So we have a lot of things going on. But for the purposes of today, I want to take a step back and talk about an issue that's going to be very important in this election cycle. And it's something that we surveyed our members on. For those of you who participated in our annual meeting a couple of weeks ago, you may remember that we did a survey. We actually did a few different surveys during that meeting, but one of the surveys asked the question of whether our members supported or opposed question 2 here in Massachusetts. Now, question 2 is one of 2 ballot questions that will be on the November ballot. Voting here in Massachusetts will be underway as early as this coming week with mail-in or absentee voting. And we'll talk about a little bit about that process in just a moment. But in terms of the 2 ballot questions, question 1 is known as the right to repair. Now, our members support question 1 by a wide margin. 90-10 was the vote tally when it came to question 1, which is the right to repair. Now, we are not taking a position on that question. We're just wanted to keep you informed as to what our members think. But in terms of question 2, an overwhelming number of members indicated that they were opposed to question 2. And the vote tally came out to 13% in favor of voting yes on question 2, 72% no on question 2, with another 15% undecided. Now, the fact that there's a large number of folks undecided on question 2 really isn't all that surprising. Now, after the survey and we were analyzing the results, it led us to take a closer look at question 2. Now, what question 2 is all about is what's called ranked choice voting. And for those of you who are not familiar with ranked choice voting, part of the email message that we're sending out today and on our website, massretirees.com, there is an article that we are publishing about ranked choice voting and explaining the details. It's complicated, it's very confusing, and after analyzing this and listening to the thoughts of our members, we have decided to take the position of no on 2. We do not believe that question 2 is the right answer. We believe that it's a mistake. We believe it would be harmful to our association and our ability to support candidates who support our members. So we are opposed to question 2, and we are asking our members to take a close look at question 2, and we're recommending a no vote. Now, the reason for this is quite simple, and I should say at the outset that I know that there are many good people who are supporting and urging voters to vote yes on 2, and they're very well intentioned, and the reason why they are supporting this question is that they believe that it will make our democracy stronger, lead to less partisanship, and lead to better representation of folks. We just happen to disagree. We do not believe that it would end up doing those things. In fact, we're very fearful that it could lead to the opposite, and that we believe strongly in one person, one vote. A very basic, fundamental tradition in the United States and in democracies. You get one person, you get one vote. Now, under ranked choice voting, it would no longer be one person, one vote. In practice, a voter in an election where there were more than 2 candidates, you would get to rank your preference. So you get choice 1, choice 2, choice 3, choice 4, choice 5. The list could go on. So who is your first pick, who's your second pick, who's your third pick? In practice, that's very confusing. In studies in areas that have adopted ranked choice voting, studies show that the majority of voters begin to drop off. So they don't vote for a second preference or a third preference or a fourth preference. And it gets very diluted. And again, we believe that it would undermine our ability to support candidates effectively who support public retirees. And that's why we're asking members to look closely at this. But at the end of the day, we've come to the conclusion that we believe this is a bad idea and it's overly confusing and it's not necessary. Well-intentioned, but just not a very good idea. So we have included it on our website. It's in today's email message to you to take a look at this. And there's plenty of information out there. The pros and cons of this, the red book that Secretary Galvin has mailed to all registered voters in Massachusetts. There's a complete summary of both ballot questions as well as information on the pros and cons of both. So you can get all of the information that you need on that. Now, in terms of the election itself, as I mentioned last week, our association has once again included in our newsletter a full listing of legislative candidates who we are endorsing for re-election in the November general election here in Massachusetts. Now, you'll see in the newsletter when you get it next week that this is a bipartisan list of legislators and first-time candidates as well. Our only criteria is whether or not a candidate for public office, whether they be an incumbent or a newcomer, whether or not that candidate supports public retirees and supports the issues that are important to you specifically as a public retiree. So in other words, your defined benefit pension, your retiree health insurance, cost of living increases, life insurance, all of the different benefit structures that you pay for and that you earned as a public retiree. We want to make sure that the legislators who we are supporting agree with those principles. And in addition to that, are going to pledge to make you in those issues a priority. It's not good enough for someone to yes us to death and say, oh, we're with you. But at the end of the day, they're more interested in taking care of another issue, if something else is more important to them. Now, in all fairness, there are a million different issues out there. You know, the things that we as an association are focused on are very small, focused area in the big picture. We understand that, and I believe that you understand that. But we also believe that you deserve a fair shake. You worked a lifetime to earn these benefits. You've paid good money for these benefits. You should continue to be a priority because of that. And the folks that we have endorsed, we are certain that they're going to continue to make you a priority and that we're going to have access to them, to be able to talk to them, be able to put our best foot forward on your behalf, whether they be a Republican or a Democrat. We do not get tied up in what party somebody happens to belong to or other issues that are unrelated to retirement. And the reason why I mention that is undoubtedly some of you who are watching this or folks who are going to look at our newsletter, you may have other interests. There might be some specific issue that you are focused on as an individual, and that's fine, that's your right. But please understand where we're coming from. Our job and my job as your representative here is to focus on issues that are specific to public retirees. So just take that into consideration. You can vote for whomever you choose. That's your right. We're just simply letting you know who are the folks that we believe are the best option for these various Massachusetts legislative races. Now, the great strength of our association is that 90-some-odd% of our members, year in and year out, participate in the election. You vote. And I know that you're going to do that again this year. The election this year, it's probably one of the most important elections of anyone's lifetime. We have a lot at stake, regardless of who you plan to support. But if you are going to vote, make sure you do so early if you're going to vote by mail. And our suggestion is if you are voting by mail, try to return that ballot to your local city or town hall in person. Don't rely on the U.S. mail to make sure that it's going to get there on time. The best course of action that you can do is hand deliver it, if you can, to your local city or town hall. Most cities and towns across Massachusetts have secure ballot boxes or a drop-off box in the lobby of city or town hall that you can drop that off and you can know that it's going to get there. If you have to put it in the mailbox, just make sure you do it early. Do it in early October. That gives about a month or so for it to get to its destination. You can count on it being counted on Election Day. Now, we're also going to have early voting here in Massachusetts again at the end of October. Those dates are going to be contained in the newsletter that you're going to get next week. And then finally, obviously, you can still vote on November 3rd. If you choose to show up in person, whether it be during early voting in October or on Election Day on November 3rd, you are going to be able to vote. You can do so safely. Just make sure that you take precautions and wear a mask and that sort of thing. On a personal note, I plan on voting in person, largely because my daughter turns 18 this month and I want to go with her. It's a very special moment, first time someone gets to vote, and I want to make sure that she can do so at the polling place and really just get the full experience. And it's lousy, it's her senior year of high school. She has enough to worry about with COVID-19 and trying to navigate graduating from high school this year. I want to try to keep one tradition alive, so to speak, but we're going to do so carefully. And whether it be early voting or going on November 3rd, that's what we plan to do. But with that, I'm going to sign off for today. But again, look to next Friday's video for a full update on the WEP. We have got some information to share with you of what we're working on and what our hopes are for the remaining 3 months of 2020. And fingers crossed that we can finally get this very important issue resolved for you. But thank you so much.